We've all known people who, when you carry on a conversation with them, it's one-sided. They do all the talking, you do all the listening. And then when you finally speak, you feel like they're not interested in what you have to say. Well, that's not a good example of listening skills. I want to talk to you about the importance of listening in your morning cup of inspiration. A good friend of mine recently shared a story that she heard in church about this very topic, and I thought it was so good I want to share it with you. Back in the days when Morse code was really popular, in the late 1800s, early 1900s, there was an ad in the paper for telegraph operators. Now, telegraph machines used Morse code, which was developed by Samuel Morse, who was one of the inventors of the telegraph. And it was a series of long and short dots that transmitted messages. And a very skilled transmitter operator could hear the messages and knew right away what it was saying. So this young man went to apply for this job. He shows up, and there's a large office, and there's probably 7 other applicants sitting there waiting, and you can hear the sound of a telegraph machine going off in the background, and there's a door, and there were instructions to just fill out the application. So he filled the application out, and he sat there and he looked around, and all these other applications were just sitting there. Applicants were sitting there. And so after a few minutes, he got up and he walked right through the door. And the other applicants started talking and said, "Why did he just walk in there? We've all been waiting all this time." And they were very curious. And after a little while longer, the owner came out and thanked everyone for coming, but he said the position's been filled. And one of the gentlemen that had applied said, "I don't understand. I've been waiting here. All of us have been waiting here. And this guy that just got the job just stood up after a while and walked through." He said, "That's right." He said, "Why did he get the job?" He said, "Because we were transmitting the message on the telegraph machine, and it said, if you hear and understand this message, come right through the door, the job is yours." He listened. He got the job. I think that's a powerful story. God speaks to us in many ways, and we need to learn to listen to his voice. And it doesn't always come in the same way or in the way we expect. In 1 Kings 19, there's a story about Elijah, and God was wanting to speak to Elijah. In verse 11 says, he said, "Go forth and stand upon the mount before the Lord. And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind rent the mountains and brake in pieces the rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind, and after the wind an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake, and after the earthquake a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire, and after the fire a still small voice." And that was the voice of God, and Elijah learned to hear that still small voice. I hope that you and I learn to listen to that. Sometimes we have to be very still and quiet to hear it, but it's there. I hope that inspires you. Let's all be better listeners. I'll see you soon for another morning cup of inspiration.